Join me today as we talk about those service pets that really aren't legit. Who's collecting Social Security checks at 150 years old? And you got to do better than that for the national anthem on a Super Bowl. Stick around. You just might learn something. Welcome to the Eric T Conversation. I'm Eric T. We have to stop with the service animals. Those dogs you keep bringing with you everywhere you go, to the store, to the restaurant, to the doctor's office. Leave them at home. Your pets don't want to be there, and they aren't service animals. You guys aren't fooling anybody just because you buy a 1995 vest on Amazon and you stick it on your dog and it says service animal. Those things got to get certified. And everybody just puts a vest on their dog and they decide to take it to a restaurant for breakfast. Stop it. I'm tired of seeing dogs everywhere. You don't have that much anxiety that you need to bring your pet every single place that you go to. And you know why I know it's a big scam? They're not helping you walk through the store because you can't see, or you have epilepsy and it's, it notifies you when you're about to have a seizure. Those are service animals. The ones that I'm seeing are not. A Chihuahua is not a service dog. I'm sorry. You may love them, but it's not a service dog. A service dog is like a lab, a German Shepherd, something like that that's going to help you in case of an emergency. And you know why I know it's really a scam? I was at the VA the other day, and a lady walks in there with a small little hot dog, right? Comes to the counter, and she's asking the information desk something, and the dog, as people walk by, is like freaking out, just running around, pulling at the leash. And I'm looking at him. Dog's got a, certified vest on, so it must be legit. Wrong. There's no way that thing was a service dog. Service dog was all skittish. Real service dogs keep their shit together, and they don't lose it when they go into public somewhere. And this dog was going nuts. And I'm just looking at her, shaking my head. I'm like, you know what, lady? He probably wants to be at home, sitting in his little bed, chewing on his squeaky toys. He doesn't want to be everywhere you go. And it's funny how people just have to bring their dogs everywhere. I don't want them in a restaurant because I don't want their nasty dog hair flying into my food when I'm trying to eat it. Leave your pets at home, people. This whole thing about anxiety and come on. The dudes that fought in World War II and Vietnam, you think they need service animals to get them through the day because of their anxiety? No, they did not need a service animal at all. They dealt with their shit like a grown-up. You don't have to bring a Chihuahua with you, put a little jacket on them, and comfort you throughout the day. Leave your pets at home. It's unnecessary. I'm tired of seeing it, and a lot of people are tired of seeing it too. Okay? It's getting out of control. Anyway, that's my observation of the day. Now for the conversation. Well, a revised job report just came out from the Biden administration his last final year. And they had to readjust 569,000 jobs. And out of those jobs that they had to readjust, 70% of them were in the government sector. So they were like government jobs. They weren't out. Everybody else, new companies hiring anything, they were in a government job. And out of those government jobs, 99.2% of them went to foreign workers. Okay, not regular Americans, went to foreign people. Something wrong with that. And that's why we're fixing it. And that's why we're fixing the system, because it's obviously been broken for the last 4 years. It's been broken for a decade, but the last 4 years caused a lot of damage. Now, Elon Musk just updated his pseudonym on his X, and he's calling himself Hairy Balls. And it's hilarious because CNN actually did a segment on Elon, and they had to call him Hairy Balls. It's classic, man. He's just trolling these people. And they said his name like 3 or 4 times in this segment, which, I mean, you can't help but laugh. They said Hairy Balls like 3 or 4 times. It was hilarious. But he was in the Oval Office with the president today, and he was going over some of the things that they've found with Social Security. And with the Social Security, they found that people are 150 years old that are still collecting a Social Security check. That's right, 150 years old. Now, he was joking, saying if somebody's 150 years old and they're still walking around, they should be on TV somewhere being interviewed because they're the oldest person on record to ever live. But that person, whoever it is still collecting the Social Security check. And that just tells you how much fraud and waste is out there in our government that is going unchecked. It's just, people just send the checks out. Nobody cares that somebody 150 years old is collecting a Social Security check. And the fraud is like so crazy that now they're like, all right, we need to start looking at some of these bureaucrats that work in DC and some of these government agencies. Now, modest salary. These people make about and if you're high level, you're making high, 6-figure income. as a salary. But a lot of these people are millionaires. I know a lot of people that make $150,000, $130,000 a year. They're not millionaires. They're not even close to being millionaires. But some of these bureaucrats that are working in DC that have been there for years are worth tens of millions of dollars on a modest government salary. So they're going to start looking into those people as well. And they're freaking out about it. Because now you know someone's going to be checking on where's that money coming from, that all of a sudden you go from making $160,000 a year to having a net worth of $12 million. So wake up, people. It's starting to come. And they've realized that the expenditures that these people are coming up with just doesn't work. It doesn't fit the amount of money that they are spending in our government. And Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, was over in Germany with the 10th Special Forces Group. And the dude was doing PT with them. I guess he got in like at 2 a.m, woke up around 0500 and did PT with these guys. Now, Pete Hegseth is his mid-40s. So in military age, that's an old guy. But he was up there doing PT with some of these 20-year-old soldiers, Special Forces Green Beret guys at 5 a.m. and crushing it with them. Now, of course, he probably isn't like these guys, and he's in good shape. He likes to run. He does marathons and all that stuff. But let's be real. He's out there doing PT with these guys. That's the kind of leadership we need. I have never seen a Secretary of Defense ever wake up at 0500 and do PT with the troops. That's never happened before. Not that I've ever seen. Usually these guys are in their 60 fat 4-star generals or just a bunch of former congressmen that have been in DC 35 years, and they're not doing PT in the morning. So that's how you do it. We need people that are going to lead by example. And Pete Hegseth, by doing that, he just led by example. And he also changed Fort Liberty or whatever it was, Fort Bragg, back to Fort Bragg. I guess they renamed it after a different person with the name Bragg. But either way, they named it Fort Bragg, and that's where it should be. Never should have been changed in the first place. You can't erase history, people. You can't do it. And other cool stuff, Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna just gave a news briefing this earlier today, and she was talking about she is on the committee to go over some of these secret files, government files that Trump wanted to release. JFK, Martin Luther King, RFK files of the assassinations. And she said, through findings that she's looked at, that the one person, shoot person, there's 2 of them from what she can determine from what she's seen. And we've all known that. We've always known there were 2 people that were involved in it. There's no way. It wasn't a magic bullet that was flying around a car. So now that's coming out very shortly. Okay, probably in the next week or 2, that information is going to be dropping. And then Glenn Beck was on the Patrick Bet-David show, and he even said that the Epstein list is going to be coming out in about 10 days. And he was 100% sure Epstein list is coming out in 10 days. And when Kash Patel takes over as the FBI director, the very next day, he's releasing that information to the public. So hang on to your seats, people. It's going to get very interesting here in the next few weeks. They are just doing everything they possibly can to make sure we have as much transparency with this government as possible. And look, there's still people on the left that are still protesting. I don't know if you watch any of these protests. They're insane. These are paid actors. You know what? I can't prove it, but it just doesn't. They're organized, paid actors that are protesting. They all have made signs already. They're already the exact same shape. They're already digitized. They already come through a printing press. They're not sitting there with ink writing them on. They're protesting because they are paid to be there. These people don't believe in that. I can't find any that really looks at the situation with all this extra spending that is just like, oh yeah, it's totally cool. It's totally cool with sending money to Iraq for Sesame Street. It's not a big deal at all. It is a big deal. It's your tax dollars. And if you voted left or right, it's going to be a problem for everybody. And everybody's involved. Republicans and Democrats, they're all involved in this. That's why you don't see a lot of Republicans out there hooting and hollering about all the spending. There's a few of them that probably weren't on the take, but trust me, a lot of them probably were, and they're all keeping real quiet about it. They're not complaining that they're doing it, but they're not supporting it either. So hopefully all this stuff starts coming out and it just cleans it all out, because there is a extreme amount of waste that our government is going through that needs to be stopped. I just don't understand why people are upset about it. And it's like fake upset. It's, what do you call it? Fake protesting. It's not legit. It's not legit at all. And you just think our government should really have everything exposed so we can all really kind of get a grasp on how much money our government is wasting of our tax dollars. And something else I want to touch on before I forget is that if you watched the Super Bowl the other day, and I watched just like everybody else, and game was the game was. I can care less either one. They're not the Miami Dolphins, so I really didn't have any skin in the game at all. I'm glad the Eagles won. I'm kind of was cheering for Jalen Hurts. I think he had a rough shake of it in college, and he proved himself the better Alabama quarterback, much better than Tua Tagovailoa. Okay, I'm a Dolphins fan, and I knew 2 years ago we picked the wrong Alabama quarterback in that draft. But what I have a problem with is the halftime show. I really don't care either way. It did nothing for me, and I've been a hip hop rap guy fan since like '82. I've loved rap before rap was mainstream. Rap was so underground they used to have to listen to an AM radio station here in town at like 9 to 10 o'clock at night. That's the only time you could hear rap music. So I'm a huge rap music fan. I'm not a fan of the stuff they have now. I wasn't a big fan of the whole halftime show. I wish the show on the halftime would be something that everybody could enjoy. They could pick an artist that doesn't have a political agenda or is not going after another rapper or have some beef with somebody else and just puts on a fantastic show. Why can't we have that? Just somebody neutral that everybody can enjoy. Because when you put somebody like that on the stage, you're going to alienate probably 75 to 80% of the people watching the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl halftime show is the most watched show, part of the whole Super Bowl, is that halftime show. And my final take is whoever's singing the national anthem, please, just sing it the way it's supposed to be sung. It's written a certain way. And I don't know who that guy was. Apparently he's some special recording artist, but he liked to put his own flair on it. And the biggest note in that whole song is free. When you say free at the very end, right? And everybody's anticipating that huge word to be sung at a very high note. That guy repeated that line 3 times. It just lost all the flair. He didn't hit the high note. And I thought it was a terrible rendition of the national anthem. The only other person I can remember doing a national anthem recently was Christina Aguilera, because she repeated one of the lines because she couldn't remember the Star Spangled Banner. But you know whose name I always will remember and exactly where I was and the date it was 1991 when Whitney Houston sang the national anthem. I will always remember that. That's the only person I can remember doing a national anthem, because hands down, that was the best rendition of the national anthem I have ever heard at any sporting event at any time in my life. And I've heard the national anthem a lot. I've even had the privilege to sing it a few times. And yes, I have some pretty good pipes. But that rendition was wonderful. And I wish people that sang the national anthem would want to go down as somebody that nailed it like Whitney Houston, and we could remember who the heck they were. Because everybody else since then, besides Christina Aguilera screwing it up, and I don't even know what year that was. I just know she did it. I certainly remember Whitney Houston in 1991 when she sang that national anthem. The best one ever. Always gives me chills when I hear it. Anyway, that's it for today. Join me next time for a little chit chat, some observation, and some good old fashioned conversation. Like, subscribe, follow, and pass it on. I appreciate it. Thanks.